Hey, what's going on guys? Ubaru here. In today's video, we're going to be going through my day one guide of Yama. This will be more of an introduction to Yama's mechanics and will be less of an efficient guide, but I'll be giving you some setups that I and many others have been using since it's been released. Alright, let's go through some of the gear options. First up, we have a Novice setup. This is going to be a complete mage only setup except for a melee swap. For this, you're going to want whatever kind of best in slot mage armor you have, as well as an imbued or saturated heart if you have one, along with a few prayer potions, a super combat, an anti-poison, and the RCS spellbook with Raider Thralls, Death Charge, Dark Demon Bane, Mark of Darkness, and Ward of Arceus if you can be bothered to use it. I'm not too sure how effective it is. I did all my KC without it, but it is a damage reduction spell for demons. Your layout should look something like this, and if you don't have max gear, feel free to downgrade accordingly. The key for this setup is to maximize on learning the boss mechanics for the first couple KCs. That way you can emphasize on getting damage in while eating when necessary. For those who are considering a more advanced setup, you could take up to 4, 8, maybe even 9 pieces of melee. It really just is your own preference. Currently, melee is beating out mage and DPS, and it's greatly worth considering if you feel like your first couple KCs are sluggish after using the Novice setup. Although I definitely wouldn't recommend this for your first KC, as it will probably be too many switches and you might get overwhelmed fast. Alright, now that we got gear out of the way, let's get into the boss mechanics. Once you begin your challenge with Yama, Yama will spawn in the center of the room. The boss will attack back with whatever style you're dealing. This means that if you damage with melee, it will hit the assigned person Yama is aggressive towards with melee. And if you're maging, Yama will either hit you with mage or range. Mage attacks will encircle you with fire like this, and range attacks will encircle you with a black shadow like this. It's important to pay attention to these because you can tank them, but they'll become an issue for you if you get caught up in other mechanics, and end up hitting you with combo damage when other specials come into play. Every phase, Yama will unleash special attacks that are important to take note of. In phase 1, your main focus is to pay attention to what is set above Yama's head, or to look for its visual cues that encircle the boss before an attack. For both phase 1 and phase 2, you want to stay equidistant between both the blue and the orange glyphs that are present on the ground. These glyphs are color-coded for you to properly mitigate special attack damage from Yama that can seriously cut into your supplies. It's important that whenever you see a blue or orange that encircles Yama, that you go to that correct tile. Throughout the phase, you'll see blue waves that you need to move through, as well as fire attacks that come across your screen horizontally. These both will increase the difficulty each phase you succeed against Yama. Another special that can be triggered on any phase during the fight are void flares. These are needed to be damaged in order to not get hit with additional damage. The best weapon to use on these will be your purging staff with the highest demon base spell you have, as well as a couple mage switches. If you have the Novice setup, then you should be fine just one-way swapping, but if you are using melee, you will need a couple items. If you activate Mark of Darkness, you'll deal double damage and 2 hit the flares until phase 3, where they'll have half HP. Once you hit around 60 to 65% HP, you'll be sent to the Shadow Realm. Here you'll need to hop on stones while avoiding mage attacks. Once you reach towards the end of the path, it's important to switch into mage gear, as it'll always be required for you to hit the Demi-Boss with first. You'll be required to swap between mage and melee attacks with your partner in different instances, while dealing damage to the same health pool to get access to the next phase of Yama. It's not really required to have a bunch of gear swaps. It really is just important to you to bring what's comfortable to swap between. Many people just use a 4-way swap, as it'll be important for the next 2 phases. Okay, you successfully finished the Demi-Boss. Now we're at phase 2. It's important to not miss any glyphs on the ground in this phase, as they'll seriously damage you or your partner depending on what specials you get. The boss mechanics are relatively the same until phase 3, except for the glyph specials. The orange or Inferno glyph will summon a boulder above a player's head, and if you or your partner doesn't make it in time, that person is going to take anywhere from 40 to 118 damage. And I learned the hard way.
That's the wrong one.
118.
118, dude.
Jesus Christ. The blue or the Umbra glyph will send a mage ball towards you, similar to phase 1, but will hit you with a decent amount of damage, up to the high 60s if you miss the glyph power up. If you get hit by the Inferno fires that come across the area, it will stun your movement and possibly prevent you from activating your glyph, even when you're on top of it. I've killed my partner this way before, and it's important to make sure you're not ragging your teammates with movement.
Uh-oh.
Bruh.
Oh, that blocks you. Again, it's important to note that melee is still going to be the best DPS as far as we know right now, but doing the first couple runs with mage will really keep the run simple for you to fully learn the mechanics and to move around without being encumbered by the waves or the fire attacks that come across the arena. Once you get close to 30% HP on Yama, you'll return back to the shadow phase to hit the Demi-Boss and repeat exactly what you did in phase 1. This will bring you to phase 3. Inside of phase 3, there's 2 options to damage the boss. You have a choice to either deal damage with mage or melee, and your choice will affect how the boss does special attacks on you. Let's go through the mage option first. This is by far the easiest and chill choice. I've done this especially a lot while I've been doing my KCs, and especially if you choose the Novice setup like earlier in the video, you'll have very few switches to make and it'll be really simple. You'll really only need to worry about your overheads and where your character is placed. The boss will be alternating between range and mage attacks on top of a 3-part special attack that launches fireballs toward you, which need to be dodged in a particular order. This means that you'll need to step north, then northwest, then west. I'll be drawing these out for you to see exactly where you need to step, but you basically need to stand perpendicular to wherever the middle ball will be. From here, you'll need to prepare for a crossing of waves to come. A great spot to stand is where I've marked the tile in the middle of the arena. This row allows you to cross through both crisscross waves every time without an issue by jumping 2 tiles over the waves. It may take some practice if you're continuously getting hit, but it's much more manageable to learn. The waves will continuously come, and it's important to be mindful of any void flare spawns. It is rare, but it's possible. Be sure to swap to your purging staff if necessary to destroy the void flares, and then back on boss to finish. If you chose the more advanced but faster setup, you will be meleeing the boss. It's important to note that every time the boss hits you with melee, it will spawn a void flare with half HP. Swapping with at least an occult, a tormented bracelet, your purging staff, and mark of darkness, you will one-hit the void flares. Additionally, you can use your special attack on the purging staff, which allows you to hit these void charges faster once they've been destroyed. This allows you to hit with melee and then quickly switch to mage to destroy the void charges. This kind of combat style is similar to the Kefri room in TOA, where you're sometimes needed to hit Kefri with melee, and then you need to range a swarm far away. The same logic will apply here. Again, a bit more advanced. This method isn't necessary, but it can be applied if you'd like to be doing faster kill count. Once you finish, none of the incoming waves will damage you, and you can pick up your loot. And that's pretty much it. Yama was announced to be more of an endgame boss, and to be honest, it's not too difficult. When Mod Arcane said that he was going to attempt doing Yama on his 1600 total level Iron Man on Reddit, it had a big uproar of conversation, and honestly, I understand why now. This content is actually pretty fun, but I wouldn't necessarily consider it endgame. I'm really excited to see how contracts will play out. I'm definitely going to try and send some of those when they're accessible to be used on release, which I think is in a week or so. As for the guide, this is pretty much it until more updates will come out regarding this. And again, it's not really a super efficient guide, but more so a simple introduction to Yama for those who wanted to know how to get some KC. My next video will be about Yama contracts or my new Grandmaster series that I've been working on. So yeah, stay tuned for that, and I appreciate you. That's all for me. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video.